What's up, guys? ShinoSeven here. So we're gonna be talking about WarGroove this video. So this is another one in the same series of videos for my thoughts and impressions on the title. Once I've played at least 5 hours of it, I like to give my my opinion on the game itself. Now, contrary to Y2K or Yeek that I covered last video, this time WarGroove I did not get for free. In fact, I had to purchase the game full price. I played it on the Switch, and definitely worth the price. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, as always, don't assume you're going to get a score at the end or anything. I don't give scores. This is just my opinions. Take them or leave them. It's up to you. I'm going to list the pros in my opinion, the cons in my opinion, if you should pay for the game or not, or wait maybe for a deal or something, and then yeah, that's basically it. So let's start with the pros, guys. But before we do that, let's just read a little bit of a description here on the title itself. Let me just pull up my my thingy here. So WarGroove it's essentially, well, first of all, it's like a spiritual successor to Advanced Wars that was released on the GBA, I believe, way back when. Here's a description. Take to the battlefield with WarGroove, a strategy game for up to 4 players. Choose your commander and wage turn-based war and battling factions. Design and share maps, cutscenes, and campaigns with easy-to-use editors and in-depth customization tools. So, the game itself is it's a strategy game. It's a turn-based strategy game in which you take turns. It's not like your unit take turns. It's literally your faction yourself take turns. So you play all your units until you're done playing, and once you're done, you press end turn, and then it's to the opposite faction. So it's not one of those like you know, like Final Fantasy Tactic, where you would play, you know, your turn and the enemy would play a turn, and then you would play a turn again, and so on and so forth, back to back until every single unit has played, and then it's again, you know, it resets. The gameplay itself is pretty freaking addictive. I'm calling this as a pro because I freaking love it, man. The first time I played it, it gave me like a distinct impression of playing Warcraft 3. Like, it felt like I was back into Warcraft 3, and I was just like experiencing the world and stuff for the very first time. It was so freaking exciting. The factions are cool. There's 4 factions. You have the Cherrystone Kingdom, which is like a kind of like a group of humans. You have another group of humans called the Aura Kingdom. Hold on, I have it here. The Evensong, which is another kingdom. And then you have the Florins, which are like plant people, and then you have Felheim, which are like the undead. So there's no orcs or anything. So basically what you have here is like 2 humans, 1 undead, and 1 like plant people that you could say remind you of the Night Elf in a way, to continue that Warcraft 3 comparison. Now the gameplay, like I said, is pretty addictive. You get to essentially like you accrue resources exactly like you would in like a game like Warcraft 3. So you capture villages that are on the map. Once you own a village, villages. Once you own a village, it will generate for you 100 gold per turn. So that will allow you to buy units in barracks. Now you can buy 1 unit per turn per barrack. So if you have 3 barracks, you can buy 3 units per turn, and so on and so forth. They all are worth a bunch of different amount of gold, depending on potency and you know, just unit style and stuff like that. And then next turn you'll be able to move that unit once it's been bought, and place it wherever you want to, and attack or whatever. Every single unit has what they call a crit attack. So every single unit has a situation in which they will do increased amount of damage, and you have to always keep in mind those different bonuses. So for example, if you put 2 pikemans one next to another, they will crit just because they're on adjacent tiles. Now diagonals don't count, so you need to make sure that they are literally like adjacent to one another, and then they'll do crit damage. A mage, for example, will do more damage if he's standing on a hill or in the forest. And then you have the footmen. They will do more damage if they're standing right next to your commander. Every mission or so has a commander. This would be your hero unit, kind of like in Warcraft 3, and those unit have a almost like an ultimate attack. So they have the regular movement, regular attacks and stuff, and then once they reach like 100% of their accrued power, they can unleash it and use their ultimate attack to do something depending on what the hero unit is. So for example, the main hero you're mostly playing in Act 1 and Act 2 and 3 is the commander Mercia of the the Queen Mercia of the Cherry Stone, and her ultimate attack, that's the lady I'm controlling right now. It's in fact the lady with the blue hair on the cover of the game there. She will heal all of the units around her for a big chunk of the damage have been taken. And so basically, if you send her into fray and she's surrounded by allies and she's getting pummeled, because usually heroes have way more HP and they're more resistant, then the chances are she's gonna proc her special attack often. She'll be able to heal the entire group of units you have near her all the time, and that might turn the tide of battle in your favor. And then you have, and each hero unit has its own stuff, and each, again, faction has its own heroes. So, again, they have their own unique thing. I really like the mission diversity in the game. Some missions are simply go and kill the enemy commander or go and kill their stronghold, but some of them are different. Some of them are like, okay, you gotta survive for X amount of turns, which is pretty freaking crazy. And then you have others that are like the one that you can see right now, where essentially I have to escort, like villagers will pop up on the map. I have to take them from where they are and bring them to the flashy area on the map, which is under my protection, as I battle enemies to keep them at bay whilst I do the ferrying of said like villagers or peasants or whatever. And yes, and there are other ones where it's just like army versus army. There's no building, there's no economy. It's just like, here's 10 units, the enemy has the exact same 10 units, and you have to make the best of this and survive this and just play intelligently. And yeah, no, it's honestly, it's pretty freaking fun. Again, there's a lot of diversity in the missions you encounter, in the map you have, and they will have like different layouts, different terrain, a bunch of different stuff, and it's really freaking cool. So that's definitely a plus. Then the voice acting is really cool too. Now, instead of doing like a full voice acting where everybody is like completely every line, instead what they do is they will sometimes voice either an emotion or literally like the first few words of a sentence. So it even though it's not fully voiced, it almost feels like it is. And literally every line will have like either a grunt or like a word that's being said or something. So it's never like silent. There's never like dull moments. It's always like, snappy and it goes pretty fast. Also, dialogues are mostly just like one line, two lines. Like, it's nothing too crazy. So you won't have to read a whole ton. Like even for cutscenes in between missions and stuff, like it's pretty rapid. And there's like cutscenes where you see like, character movement and stuff. It's not just like visual novel style. You'll see like the actual pixel art, and they'll move around, and it'll, as they're talking and stuff. So that's pretty cool. And then the art style. The art style is also a pro for me. I like this like pixely kind of almost like a phone game art style. Very retro, and I really like it. It does the job. It does what it's supposed to do. It's not too flashy, it's not too demanding. In fact, it's very like the game itself isn't too heavy on like in terms of space that it takes, probably because of that. And yeah, like everything is perfectly laid out on the map. For like a tree, like a bunch of trees together is forest. A little mountain is a mountain. Like it's not, there's nothing nuts here. Like everything is pretty straightforward, very well explained. And at any point in time, by the way, on the map, you can press like B, and then it opens up like this kind of menu where you see like more information about the terrain you're on, or literally just more information about the unit you're on. It can be an enemy unit, can be yours, but then you can see what they're strong against, weak against, and then like, you know, what is their critical again, where do they shine, like what kind of terrain, etc., and so forth. It's pretty cool. It's pretty well done, and very in depth, like way more in depth than I thought it was going to be, honestly. And there's so many different units. It's nuts. However, speaking of the units, whilst there are so many different units, and every unit is basically a rock paper scissors situation with other units in the game, so you have to, you know, play accordingly. My main complaint about the units is the fact that every faction has the same units. They're just reskins, but they're essentially the same. So a dog will look like a dog to me if I'm playing the humans, but if I'm playing the Florins, they'll look like small creatures, but it's exactly the same unit. It does the same thing. It triggers the same crit situation. It's strong against the same stuff. It's weak against the same stuff. It's the same kind of attack. It's exactly the same. It even costs the same when you want to buy it. So whilst there are 4 different factions, unlike a game like Warcraft 3, where you would have like different, literally different units, and completely different units, in fact, sometimes, depending on what faction you're playing, this one is just reskins every time. And it's okay, but I was kind of sad about that. Like, I was kind of hoping that like some units would have some kind of like thing unique to them that would make it like, oh, so these are the Florins, but and these are the, you know, Cherry Stone, and these are Heaven Song, and so on and so forth. But no, they're the exact same. The only difference essentially is the commander. Everything else is the same. So yeah, so that's a con for me. Another plus, the campaign editor. So now this isn't a map editor. This is a campaign editor. So you can make your own cutscenes. You can make your own, mission, your string of missions to create a whole campaign if you want to. Like, it's nuts. It's crazy the amount of stuff you can create and do in this game. And not only that, you can download user-generated content. So essentially, you could be playing this game forever. Like, there's no stop to it. You could literally play this game forever. Every single mission on top of that has a rating system where you can have, and they give you stars for that. And each amount of stars you unlock allows you to unlock entries in the in the in-game codex and stuff, and give you more background, more information about different characters, different things. So it's really worth like revisiting some missions that you've completed before, but maybe you didn't get like an S rating and you only got like 1 star, so you want to get like 2 or 3 stars. Then you want to retry them and get better at the game. You can do that too. There's so much content, it's ridiculous. And on top of that, another pro is the multiplayer component. So now that means that you can play the game solo, right? But you can also play it in local multiplayer over the internet, real time, or even asynchronous multiplayer. Like, there's so many different options. Like, it's dumb, like how crazy this is. For the price point of this game, like the amount of content you get, it's mind-blowing. Like, absolutely mind-blowing. So definitely, just for that, is crazy. Now, some of the cons, because I mentioned a lot of pros, I haven't mentioned a whole lot of cons yet, and there are some to me. Some missions are incredibly long. Like, we're talking like some missions like took me already, and I'm in chapter 3, like 2 hours to complete. And it really sucks when you get at the end of that 2 hours and then you lose. You just lost 2 hours. Like, you're not getting anything from this. It's not like a roguelike where you get a bunch of XP or something for your trouble. You get 0 and you have to restart again. So that could be a con, because if you're not patient and you keep dying and restarting some missions because you're not able to go through, then you're gonna have a hard time. And there's no difficulty slider, so as far as you know, this is the only difficulty. Like, you can't be like, there's a slight adjustment to difficulty, in fact. That's like, it's not a slider per se. It's not like you're going from easy to normal or normal to hard. It's more like, okay, you'll gain increased gold per turn versus the enemy, or your units are going to be slightly stronger, and you get to tweak those to your preference. Now, I don't know if that impacts the amount of stars you get at the end of a mission, if you can get an S rank if you tweak those. I didn't tweak any of those. I played just the regular difficulty, the base one, and some missions I had to restart after 2 hours of play, and it sucks. But you know, personally for me, I like difficulty, so for me it's like I want to get better and I want to learn the game better and stuff. But for some people it could be a turn off, so that's why I'm listing it as a con. There are difficulty spikes as well. Like sometimes you'll do super well, a bunch of missions in a row, and you're like, wow, this is going great, and then you decide to tackle one of those side missions, and the side missions are magnitudes harder than the regular missions. Like they're so much harder. So so be prepared for that. Like essentially you have the main path of the story and you go from act to act and you just like follow the path. But a lot of times you'll have like branching paths from those, and those are considered to be side missions. And it'll say side 1, side 2, side 3, or whatever. So it'll say like I don't know, like act 1, side 2, for example. So that's this second side mission of the act 1. So and those are really freaking hard. Like those are the ones that I'm telling you, like you're trying for 2 hours and then you lose and you're just like, oh man, and you have to retry again, and that can be painful. That can, you know, it sucks because there's no preparing you, right? So like you're doing well, you think you know the game, you think everything is fine, and suddenly paf, difficulty spike in your face. This can be hard for some people to get through, and I totally understand if that happens to you. So I listed it as a con. Other than that, story is very basic, like incredibly basic, like almost childishly so. And that works for this game. I don't mind it, but some people might, you know, be looking for more of a Final Fantasy Tactic kind of story, or like it's political and there's a lot of like intrigue and stuff going on. In this story, it's pretty freaking straightforward. There's not too many twists and turns. And then the music kind of does the job, but there's no tracks so far that really stood out to me and been like, holy shit, this is so good, and I would like to listen to it again. It's mostly just like generic, you know, RPG music that you listen to, and it does a job, but it's nothing special or anything. So for me personally, I would say definitely buy the game. It's a super cheap game. It's about like $20. And for all the content I listed, like all the different, like the main campaign, the stuff you can download from other people that they've made, the multiplayer thing, and then you can even perfect your own score in the main campaign if you so desire to unlock all the backstory of every character and all the codex entries and all that stuff. Man, there's a lot of content here. There's a whole ton of it. Like I said, you could literally play this game forever. Like if people are making campaigns for it and they keep making campaigns for years, you could have years of content in the game. Like it's nuts. So to me it's a no-brainer. Like if you like what you saw, if you like what I talked about, please consider buying this game and supporting the publisher and the devs. Honestly, pretty freaking good. The publisher of this game are Chucklefish, and they're also the developers of the game. So definitely grab that. Chucklefish, if you don't know, they're the same people that published. They didn't develop, I don't think. I think it was just one dude, but they did publish Stardew Valley. So it's the same people. So if you guys like what they do, please consider buying it. We need to support smaller devs studios because they're the one that innovate the most, and they're the one that create the most different things year after year. And yeah, grab it. Please. It is so freaking good. You won't be disappointed. Alright guys, so that was it for my thoughts on WarGroove. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button under the video. That supports me. Also, you can catch me on my stream every single night at 6 p.m. EST, except for Tuesdays where I don't stream. Everything else, every other day at 6 p.m. EST. You can find me at twitch.tv/ShinoSeven. Link will be under the video, and as well I'll have a link to the devs and probably a link to the Steam store under the stream as well. If you guys want to grab the game, you can do so there. Alright guys, see you later. Bye-bye.